This is pile 1. Pile number 2. Pile 4. This is barely something to call a pile. Hello everyone and welcome back to this new video, which is all about my journal evolution. I've been journaling since 2012 and my first journal, I cannot find it anywhere, but we have the journals from 2013 to this very day, and I think it's very fun to just do a little recap of how my pages changed through the years, how I fill my pages now versus how I filled them in my very first journal. First, I want to give 2 disclaimers. First disclaimer, this is not a real nose piercing. I am deciding if I want one, and I thought if I have a fake one in while filming, I'm forced to look at it while editing, and then maybe I get an idea if I like it or not. So, see, it's fake. Second disclaimer, I have never wrote in my journals diaries with the intention to share them on the internet, so I will not share everything. This will not be a flip through, but I will give like a short summary of every journal and a few pages that I think I'm okay with to share. So this is my first journal and I was 10 to 11 years in this one, and what I really like about this journal is how absolutely rude I am. This journal really paved the way for my journals in the future, because I think if you start at a later age, it can be quite scary to put your thoughts on paper because that makes them more real. But I was so blunt in this journal. I really was roasting so many people in this. The fun fact is, I think every child has those thoughts, but I actually wrote them down. This was really a diary, a cliche diary for that. I was reading things like the diary of, I really have no idea what the English translation would be, but I will put a picture here. So I had the idea that I needed to be like, oh my god, boys, you know? But also I was just a child in here. I was making up princess names. I was drawing myself so many times in how I wanted to look. This journal is very interesting because I was really trying to figure out who I wanted to be. And I was still a child here, but I was slowly becoming like a teenager. It's like the first stages of figuring out who I wanted to be. And I think I was very actively searching for it without really knowing it. And it's very interesting because that's like the theme for all of my journals. Then my second one, which is damaged. I remember that it was raining and I left my window open and this one was laying on the windowsill, and I was still writing in it, so that was sad. But we kept going. What's interesting about this journal is that you can really see an evolution, because in the beginning I was in the last grade of primary school, and after that I went to high school. So in the end of the journal I am going to high school, and I think you can imagine that this kind of journal doesn't fit with someone that goes to high school. So I think I didn't finish it because I was just like, well, big change in character during this journal, because suddenly you get to know so many more people. And I think for the first time ever I got more self-conscious about who I was and who I wanted to be. And I also was making this so a little bit more aesthetic. There were more stickers, more colors, more things stuck in. And also what I started to do here is that if I experienced something where so much happened, which happened a lot during this time, I would just type it out, print it out and stick it into the journal. So we have a lot of that in this journal, and I still do that sometimes because I don't always want to write everything down. I don't have the time for it, and I still want it to be in the journal because I think it's a great keepsake, or as a story that I want to remember if I'm like 80 years old. This was just me figuring out myself and trying to really get my emotions onto paper. Yes, I think this is the most boring one of them all, because I only wrote in ballpoint pen. It has like lines at one side of the paper and then dots and a blank page at the other side of the paper. So I only wrote one page of text and then I always drew something with it. But because I had those rules for myself, I was limited in my creativity. I was limited in how many things I could write. It wasn't a success. But this is where this girl started to have crushes and write about them. Also, she got so obsessed with Lord of the Rings. So in the last few pages, it's Lord of the Rings that, it's Lord of the Rings this, Middle Earth that, you know. But also I was trying some more things like mood trackers and also bucket and fuck it list. But there are very few keepsakes in it, and that's something I really like right now. This one. I wanted this one because it reminded me of a book that could be in Lord of the Rings. I was really going through a phase. So we have a little bit more keepsakes. I also started to write in black ink. Also didn't want to go back to any other color. It's most of the time writing about events that occurred, things that happened, and also what I started to do is making character lists. And I didn't really continue with that forever, but I did continue that for some of my journals, I think 3-4 more, where I just write about all the main characters and side characters in my life. Later on it was mostly side characters, people that I would probably forget if I was 20 years older, because they were playing such a small part in my life. So I just wrote down like the name and then like they were a classmate, or I danced with them, or something like that, so that I could remember where the hell they were from. 2017 was a big journal year for me, because we had the last one I showed you, but the next 3 I will show you are also from 2017, but they are not that chunky. Then we have this one. I made this one myself. It's so fluffy, but I still love the fact that I made it myself. I put in the work, you know. And here I started to love stickers, love making it more aesthetic. I got more into Pinterest, and because I was journaling so much, I was really searching for creative ways to journal. And also, yeah, a lot of washi tape. If you see like here, you can already see that there is so much washi tape in them. So much stationery was bought this year. And also I started to print out pictures that I wanted to keep, but it was still very diary-like, very, this is my life, this happened this day, and this happened the next day, you know. But also a lot about, oh my god, I have this crush and this boy doesn't like me back, I'm so sad, you know, the typical high school heartbreak drama. We have first this one and then this one. They are both very small. So this is the first one where I didn't put in a picture, but I actually drew myself, which is never again. Yes, this is also more drawing stuff. More keepsake. I see like letters I wrote that are not meant to send. I also started to write down things in school on a piece of paper during class, if I was sure that nobody was watching. Receipts from things I ordered. Another letter. Oh, this is actually fun. This was me listing out all the options for potential studies, colleges that I wanted to go in, and we see a lot of them. All are in the artsy world, or like multimedia design, communication, drama. Girl, no, not drama. Fashion, international event management, film and television. That's what I actually did. And if we go to the other one in 2017, oh my god, I was such a baby. Yeah, this is where I started to write down social media conversations. If it was on Snapchat or WhatsApp or maybe DM in Instagram, I wrote them down if I thought it was funny, or it was with my crush, or I don't know what my real reasons were. And I did this most of the time by assigning a color of ink to all the persons that were in the conversation, and then I just wrote all the sentences in their destined color. It has a drawing. Cute drawings. I'm pretty sure I stole these from Pinterest. Oh, that's also fun. I also see that I wrote down like scenes that I found very funny at the time from series I was binge watching. So like, go to this episode at this time, you like this. That's actually something I need to watch back sometime because that's funny. I changed 2 of them. I wrote in this one earlier, and after that I finished this one. Sorry. You can see I stuck a lot of stuff in this. This is where I really started to put in so many keepsakes. It's still the same drill, still the conversations, the drawings I made. Oh, I did go back to blue ink. Girl, why? And you see that I wanted to make it very aesthetic by just putting in simple washi tapes, putting in drawings I made in class, sticky notes, colored ink. Also a list of Snapchat streaks. That's actually funny because that didn't really matter, but I thought it did. Yeah, so a lot of keepsakes. It's not very different from the past few ones. Okay, yes, we go to this one. This is absolutely one of my favorite journals because there just happened so much and I was changing so much. I got my first real boyfriend, I got broken up with, I fell in love again with my current boyfriend. There was just happening so much. And also I was really going through a lot of change in this journal, which is also fun. I think I was really trying to fit in, but also trying to find out who I was and how I wanted to present myself to the world. But it was still very much diary-like. But I also started in this journal with journal prompts, with questions, end of the year reviews I see here, but also shadow work, although I don't really think I knew it was shadow work. And in the end of the journal, it wasn't so much anymore what happened, or I did mention the things that happened, but more to go deeper on what I was feeling after the things that happened and how I wanted to feel and how I wanted to process these emotions. So it started to be more about working on my emotions, handling my emotions, feeling better through journaling. I think those were the main 2 priorities, like keepsake and also figuring out my emotions. Yeah, here I see things I have learned. So I was really trying to learn lessons about the events that occurred. And also still a character list. And I think this is the last one with a character list. So this is my most dirty journal, and then I mean like physically it's dirty because I took it with me on my internship to Mongolia, which was like, how do they call it? The Dutch translation would be World Citizen Internship. That's actually the English translation from Dutch. This was for an organization where you could go with on a journey to a country with a group of teenagers your age, and you would learn from their culture, also do projects to improve certain things like their schools or help them with their education by giving, for example, I was giving English lessons on a school in Mongolia, and we also helped them renovate one of their gyms, and also just learning from them and being with people from other cultures and learning that you're not so different from them. And they highly recommended everyone on this journey to keep a journal, and that's very fun because I often was journaling together with a bunch of people. We were just sitting in a circle and all were just writing down everything that happened. There is a lot of keepsakes in this because, well, it was my birthday during this trip, so I got a lot of letters, which was very fun. But a lot of it, and also I got a lot of gifts like drawings and letters from the people there. It was so much fun. Also a lot of messages from my fellow companions that were on this trip that they wrote down of how they experienced the whole thing, and a message they still had for me. But this is just very basic. This happened and this was what impression I got of it. Then we had this one. I had an addiction to buying notebooks, so I felt like I had to fill them up first. And nothing too special in this. A lot of lovey-dovey things, a lot of keepsakes if it came to my relationship, because I was like, this is the one, and it's so fun to keep all of this for later to show our children and stuff. Still some travel keepsakes from, Croatia is this. Croatian money. Yeah, it's nothing special really. It's just the lovey-dovey first months of a relationship, how I felt in them, which was great. Then we go to the biggest of them all. Yeah, this is a lot of keepsakes, but also very fun because here I start to make the transition from high school to college. This is actually cool, some of the things I did. Here I started to make drawings in them. So many fun things. Yeah, a lot of keepsakes. Whoa, I love that. I didn't know that because oh my god, like the most random things. Bracelets, you can tell that I didn't flip through this for a long time. Okay, starting college was so good for me and for my self-development and everything. And you can really see that I was getting out of my shell, learning who I was. I was becoming so much more expressive, less afraid of thinking about what people would think of me. And you can really see the reflection of this in my journal. It's more like a creative outlet for me of how I feel. And there is so much to see in this. And a lot about my feelings and less about events that occurred. And then I ended it with a lot of pictures. I remember this because it was so thick it wasn't nice to write in anymore. So I just printed out pictures and I put them in the bag, and that was it. That was fine. Now we have this one. It's more. Yeah, still very expressive. A lot about my feelings, to-do lists, artsy stuff. Didn't change that much. Yeah, a lot of self-expression. Okay, and then we start at the very end of this journal a new chapter in my journaling evolution, which is spirituality. Because I see here the first time I put in a birth chart, mine and one of my boyfriends. And I think after this we will see different kind of themes in my journals, but we will just see what brings us. This was something that came with a magazine I ordered, and I thought it was very fun because all the pages had different colors. There's still a lot of keepsakes. Angry letter, it says here. Polaroids, a lot of Polaroids from the last journal. Gratitude list, yeah. Tarot reading. We see the change here. So I started to capture more of my tarot readings. Gratitude list a lot because I read a lot about gratitude and how this helped us manifest, or how it helps us be more content in our day-to-day life. Appreciation pages for here I see for Bridgerton. And I also started to do more collaging, which I didn't really do in the previous ones. Pro-cons list, also something that came into my journals. I just love how you see me becoming more the version that I am this very day. So we go to the next one. We're already in 2022. Zodiac signs, keepsakes, a lot of drawings. Nothing really changes from here, but you see me going deeper and deeper into spirituality. And you see also how my interests slowly change. And also what changes from this fairy journal is that I did no longer want lines in them, because I was so expressive. I wanted to draw, I wanted to stick things in it, and lines were just in the way if I wanted to draw and everything. Then we have another travel journal, because I was going once again with the same organization I mentioned earlier, that I went to Mongolia, I went to Uganda, also to film a documentary for my college, for my studies. It's so different from the other travel journal, as I also brought tarot cards with me and did some tarot readings during this, but also some pendling. And still it was a lot about what I saw and what I learned, but also a bit more about my feelings. I didn't keep them apart anymore, because I was missing some people so much, and I didn't really have that on the previous journey. A lot of fun things in this, also drawings, and again a lot of messages from my fellow travel companion. Okay, oh my god, it's really, we're making progress here. Then we go back to a normal journal. Collages, shadow work, gratefulness lists, tarot readings, astrology messages, keepsakes, pictures. I think that sums up most of the things in this journal. Sticker still. Also a little bit more about the things that happened, but still my main focus was on how I felt about those things and how I wanted to embrace those emotions. Lovely pink. I love the smaller ones better than the bigger ones. Although for a travel journal, I would recommend the bigger ones, because you have a lot of things you want to stick into them. Nothing really changed except my personality and my interests, but still very spiritual. You really see me understanding more and more about the spiritual knowledge that is out there, really trying to learn more about myself, trying to be more expressive, a lot of questions to get to know myself better. And also something that I started to do in this fairy journal was highlighting life lessons. So if I learned something that I thought, this is very important, this is a great lesson that I learned, I would title it like a one sentence that would summarize the whole lesson. And then I would write down in detail how I learned it, what I learned, and how I hope that I can implement this in my day-to-day life in the future. And then I highlighted it with a gold pencil so that I could easily see if I flipped through it. Oh, like here's the life lesson. What was it again? Oh yeah, do I still do this, or do I need a refreshment? You know. So that's this journal. Still very happy with the pink color. Yeah, still very spiritual. Drawings again, keepsakes that are so fun. I also started to do full moon spreads new moon spreads every new moon. A lot more shadow work, and also more printed out test results from like personality tests, like the MBTI. That's the 16 personality test, or the enneagrams. Because I really fell in love with figuring out myself, figuring out life, getting to know myself. That's just so exciting. And that doing that through journaling is even more exciting. Then one journal you probably have seen a lot of times before already. This one, I recently finished it. I finished it on, I've never written it down, that I need to write that down. 27th of December 2024. That's funny because I also started on the 27th of something. This is also where I started to print out pictures on actual photo paper, which is a little bit more expensive. I know that these kind of pictures will hold much better over time. Yeah, a lot of aesthetic pages, still a lot of pro lists, spiritual drill, you know, still going strong in here. A little bit more of Pinteresty pages, but not a lot. That sums up most of it. We finally came to the very last one, the one I'm still writing in right now, and I just love my journals. especially the ones I'm writing in, because it feels very close to you. Sorry, that was my mic probably. What can I say? Recaps of the past year, shadow work, vision boards, new moon spreads. You know the drill by now. Something I haven't mentioned before, but I also write about dreams that happened, and then I go on the internet to find the meanings of the symbols in the dream. So that's something I also have in this, but I won't show it because I think it's very personal. So this one is one that I still need to fill out. I'm exactly halfway through right now. So if I would summarize this evolution, in the beginning I was very blunt, I was very diary-like, very free of what I was writing, but it was very much the events that happened and not so much the feelings I had around those things that happened. If we go to high school, like midway through the evolution, you see me capturing more keepsakes, capturing more social media things like Snapchat conversations, Instagram. If we go to college and everything past that, we see in the very beginning it's much more expressing myself, collages, drawings, a lot of color, a lot of keepsakes. And if we go further on, we see me indulging in the spiritual practices, in tarot, in astrology, in pendling, and so much more. in gratitude and manifestation. You really see an evolution of who I was and how I became the person that I am this very day. And I am so excited to see how this evolution will continue and how I will have changed over 10 years. Because I'm sure that there's so much that will change and I have no idea what it will be. And I think that's very exciting. I hope you loved having a little peek into my journals and learn about my evolution. I hope you got some inspiration. If you have any questions about journaling or certain pages, how I worked on them, feel free to ask in the comments. Also, feel free to like, subscribe even. That would be so fun. And I hope I see you in my next video. Bye!